Colors are posted.
Ready? Four. Right, face. Post color.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for our opening prayer. Skip Diamond will lead us in prayer.
Almighty God, you are the source of our life, strength and purpose. In your presence alone we find help, hope, and life. Guide us during this hour of fellowship and reflection. Be grounded with a healing reminder of your love to all those whom we touch this day. For it's in your glory we gather and offer our prayers. Amen.
Amen. Please be seated. Good morning. I'm Peter K. Goebel. I'm the Director of the Rensselaer County Veterans Service Agency. We've gathered here this morning to honor two deceased Rensselaer County veterans for the month of January, and those veterans are Stanley J. Opitz Sr. and David B. Opitz. We are honored to have with us this morning his family members, his son and brother, Tim Opitz, and his fiancée, Linda Weber. Thank you for being here. Also with us today to honor our Veteran of the Month are representing Congressman Paul Tonko, Ryan Horstmeyer, former Congressman Michael McNulty, New York State Assemblyman John McDonald III, Rensselaer County Executive Steve McLaughlin, Rensselaer County Legislative Chairman Mike Stammel, Rensselaer County Legislative Vice Chairman for Finance Bob Loveridge, Rensselaer County Legislative Deputy Minority Leader Ed Manny, Chairman of the Legislative Veterans Committee Jake Ashby, representing the Waterfleet Arsenal Commander Colonel Joseph Morrow, we have CW3 Clark and Mr. John Schneider. Also, we have legislators Mark Fleming and Tom Grant. As we are all well aware, Memorial Day and Veterans Day are special days to remember all of our veterans. This program was created to help us honor our veterans all year round. To us here in Rensselaer County, every day is Veterans Day. The Rensselaer County Honor Deceased Veteran Program represents veterans organizations throughout the entire county. This includes members of the American Legion, Disabled American Veterans, Veterans of Lansingburg, Military Order of the Purple Heart, Marine Corps League, Veterans of Foreign Wars, Korean War Veterans, Tri-County Council of Vietnam-era Veterans, Heroes at Home, Combat Veterans Motorcycle Association, and Vietnam Veterans of America. I will now ask Mike Stammel, Rensselaer County Legislative Chairman, to come forward to tell us about our honored veterans for the month of January, Stanley J. Opitz Sr. and David B. Opitz.
Thank you, Pete. Good morning, everybody. It is my honor to welcome you here today for this ceremony to recognize the life and service of Stanley J. Opitz and his son David P. Opitz. Stanley was born on July 31st, 1924 in Troy, New York, in the parents of Ignatius. Stanley was the brother of Lucy Albania and Joseph, and was a lifelong resident of Troy. Stanley attended School 12 in Troy at the age of 18, enlisted in the United States Marine Corps on October 1st, 1942. During World War II, Stanley served as an aviation mechanic, where he set up operated mill machines, turret lathes, planers, and shapers of fabricated equipment for many different metals. After a little bit more than a year in the Marine Service, Stanley married Lupita Berrigan on December 2nd, 1943. Together they had 5 children: Stanley, Donna, John, Tim, and the late David Opitz. They also had 2 grandchildren, Michael and Shannon. On February 3rd, 1946, Corporal Stanley Opitz was honorably discharged from the United States Marine Corps, and shortly thereafter, he took the job as a Kurdish machinist, machine worker, and they worked until 1958. Stanley went to work with Ford Motor Company from 1959 to 1979, when he retired as a machinist. Stanley was a communicant of Sacred Heart Church in Troy, a member of the Polish American Club of Troy and the Boy Scouts of America, and a member of the United Workers Union in Green Island, Local 930. Stanley loved to play darts, do crossword puzzles, work on cars, and travel with his family. Stanley passed away shortly after retiring on August 26, 1979, and was buried in St. Joseph's Cemetery in Troy. Stanley's son David was born September 12, 1947 in Troy, New York, and had his father's military service in his blood. David attended St. Joseph's School at LaSalle and finished his high school education at Troy High School, graduating in the class of 1965. David enlisted in the United States Navy Reserves on May 28, 1967, and was ordered to active duty on December 1st, 1967. As a boatswain's mate, David received a National Defense Medal before being honorably discharged on August 21st, 1972. In 1972, David started working as an engineer at Bell Lab, which later became Verizon. He worked there until retiring in 2002. David was married to Barbara Fitzgerald Opitz and had 2 children, Shannon and Michael. He enjoyed reading, woodworking, and spending time with his family. David was a member of the American Legion Post in Wine and Skill and the Polish Club. David was also a Little League coach. Stanley and his son David both honored our nation's call and stepped forward to serve their country. We are grateful of their service, and we thank their family for being here today. Also allowing us to honor them today at at our Deceased Veterans Program. Thank you very much. Obviously, in reading some of the history of these 2 gentlemen, honored service personnel, you can see that the son had the privilege of following in his father's footsteps. What greater honor could you have than that? And also picking up a lot of his traits. That's something that we all can be proud of, and I must say that I'm honored here to have this opportunity to meet you as the family and provide you a resolution passed by this body, proclamation passed by this body today. Thank you very much.
I will now ask Ryan Horstmeyer, representing Congressman Paul Tonko, to come forward.
Good morning. Thank you, Peter. Good morning. Congressman Tonko unfortunately could not attend this morning, so I'm here on his behalf. If he were here, he would like to thank County Executive McLaughlin, his team, Peter, and everyone at the Veteran Services Office for their work each month to organize this ritual. The Congressman thinks it's most important that we take time each month to honor our veterans, to listen to stories of their service, both to country and to community, and to allow others to follow in their footsteps as best we can. If he were here, he'd also thank Congressman McNulty for the time he put in over 25 years ago, or 25 years ago now, to establish this ceremony. Each month, the counties of Albany and Rensselaer and others in the area perform a similar function to honor veterans, deceased veterans, and because of the Congressman's leadership, this community has taken on that task and has continued it for each year since. If the Congressman were also here, he'd like to thank you both for allowing us to share in the memory of your family members, to let us perform that function so that others can learn and to see what true service, honorable service to our country means and to our community means. And so he would thank you personally for that, your attendance this morning and taking the time to share the story beforehand, and your time this morning to allow us to celebrate the lives of the seaman and the corporal. And the Congressman just would like to make special note that it's that kind of service, the service of the veterans here, the service of the veterans in your family, that allow this country to be as unique as it is, so that folks can pursue peace and opportunity, or opportunity and justice and peace. And we thank you immensely for the time that you spent this morning with us again, but also for what you did to help family, to allow them to maybe not serve when they did, but for any kind of comfort and family and support you gave while they were with you. On his behalf, I have a couple of flags I'll present to you both in honor of the corporal and the seaman. Both were flown over the Capitol building in Washington for both of our veterans this morning. And I'll present them to you now. And again, thank you very much for your participation.
I will now ask our Rensselaer County Executive, Steve McLaughlin, to come forward.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here. I've attended many of these ceremonies as Assemblyman with my friend and colleague John McDonald. This is the first time as County Executive for me. What's great about that is you don't have to go last, because by the time John and I get up here, there wasn't too much left to say. So, and I had John's certificates because I didn't know if John was going to make it, so we're glad John is here. But it's an honor to be here to join with everybody today and looking through the stories of these two great men. It's just interesting. It's like quintessential Troy. You know, you have the Legion, the VFW, Little League, Boy Scouts, St. Joseph's. This is just Troy through and through. So we thank them for their service. It's interesting to watch. So many times we see these stories where the guys went off to war or served their country and then came back home and just went back to work and built a life. And that's the story that we see every month. They're all a little bit different, but they all have that same theme. They went and served their country, came back home, and continued to serve their country in a different way. So we are honored. It's good to be with Mike McNulty, who was mentioned, started these a long time ago now, and now they've been picked up in other counties as well. So Mike deserves a lot of credit for that. I want to thank the legislature for continuing this and for supporting this, and I want to just say that nothing is going to change. We have a new change in administration here, but we are certainly going to continue these services and ceremonies to make sure that we're paying attention to our veterans and make sure that we're paying attention to those who serve this country. And for you, I want to thank you for being here today to let us honor Stanley and David, and thank them for their service, and thank you for your service as well, because as we know, when one family member serves, they all serve. So on behalf of Rensselaer County, we have proclamations, and I want to thank you both for being here. Thank you.
I will now ask Rensselaer County Legislative Veterans Chairman Jake Ashby and the assembled county legislators to come forward.
Executive McLaughlin, former congressman, Opitz family, and everybody else that's here, I just wanted to take this opportunity to express my gratitude for the legacy that Stanley and David have given us. And I wanted to echo a portion of what County Executive McLaughlin said about family members serving as well. And I know very well what that's like, and I would just like to say thank you very much for continuing to honor that legacy that Stanley and David have provided for us and setting a wonderful example. Thank you. Thanks.
I will now ask New York State Assemblyman John McDonald III to come forward.
Well, thank you, Peter, and to Steve and to Stan, Mike. I can say Stan, isn't that terrible? And to all our assembled guests today, thank you for being here. And to Tim, thank you for giving us the opportunity to remember in an official manner not only your dad, but your brother. And as Steve had mentioned, far too often we take for granted what individuals do when they leave their family and go serve our country. It's not a walk in the park by any stretch of the imagination. Obviously, they're well decorated, they're well remembered. They served their country, they served it well. And it's fitting that Rensselaer County continues this fine and important tradition to now memorialize them in the annals of the history of Rensselaer County. So, on behalf of the New York State Assembly, I used to have a partner, but he kind of went on to a different day job of some sort. Rumor has it someday we'll have another partner in Rensselaer County. We'll see when that's going to be. It's my honor and privilege to present these citations from the New York State Assembly, remembering their great service to our country.
Tim Forbes from the Rensselaer County Honor Deceased Veteran Committee will present the committee plaques at this time. Will the committee members please stand? Please stand for the closing prayer.
The day is done. Go on the sun, from the lake, the hill, and the sky. All is well. God of compassion, dignity, strength, watch over this veteran and his family. Bless him and grant his family comfort and everlasting peace. Amen.
Retire the colors.
Retreat, college. Right, Kate? Forward, mark.
This concludes our Honor a Vet ceremony for this month. Thank you for coming to honor our deceased veterans for the month of January, Stanley J. Opitz Sr. and David Opitz. Please join us for our next Honor a Veteran ceremony scheduled for February 12th. Before we go our separate ways, we'll take a few family photos. The flag will be raised at a different time and will be presented later. Thank you again.